what I would challenge all of you to do is look at the goal. I mean, it's been a tough year. And I don't know that anybody had hit their goals for the year because I'm as guilty as anybody of maybe having a little too much of a rose-colored glasses approach to goal setting. But take a look at whatever your goal was for the year, and let's look at what the fourth quarter can be, and just decide what it is you're going to do and take the massive action that you have to take to make it happen. And it doesn't have to be, okay, I still got to, if you set a goal to close 50 deals and you've closed 10, well, that's probably, you're not going to get 40, but it just depends on what you want it to be. Right. And then what kind of massive action do you want to take? So that's what we're going to talk about. And I'll send some messaging out this week so that we can talk about that next week on the call Friday, because it's the fourth quarter. I mean, today's the last day of the third quarter. And so it's a great opportunity. And at the same time, we can start thinking about what are we going to do in 2024. We got a lot of really good things happening here. This Huntington program, I know we're still, ironing out the kinks of working with that investor. And that's not unusual. Whenever you get a new investor that you start to work with, you start to learn their nuances and their flow, and we're going to get better and better at it. And, that was a significant event that we were able to turn this into. We got 50 basis point improvement on everything, plus 100 on the LMIT program. We also got the doctor loan, and we got an AE that really likes us as a company and they want to work with us. So that's really powerful. We could turn this into, eventually we could be a delegated. Right now we're a non-delegated correspondent lender. So that just means they underwrite. We could become delegated if we wanted to push that. We've got to have a track record with them of our performance. So that we have to take the underwriting out of their, I've always, no one ever likes having somebody you don't control underwriting, but I like it if I'm controlling it. And so that is something that we can shoot for. It's probably not anytime in the first quarter of the last quarter of this year, the first quarter of next year, but it is something that we can work towards. So having, and then our cash buyer program, and then all the other things that we've always done, there's a lot going on here that you can use to make this thing work for you. So that's what I would challenge all of you to do, is to take a look at your fourth quarter numbers, take a look at where you're at for the year based on your 2023 goal that you set for yourself. And then just go okay, so what do you want to do in the fourth quarter? Because this is it. And we're going to talk about 2024 throughout this quarter, but this is it. This is the last part of the year. And this is a great opportunity to connect with all of your real estate agents and talk to them about what can we do? How can I help you? What can I do for you to let's try to finish 2023 as strong as I possibly can for you and for me, because we both need this, and see what that can be for you. Make sure that everybody knows all of the programs that you have available to you. And then I just want to talk about the Friday Focus that I wrote today. So if you haven't read it, make sure you read it. It's all about ownership. It's about taking ownership. There's a follow-up to it next week where I actually propose the idea that maybe we add a fifth core value to our 4 core values about just ownership, taking ownership. Because what I see a lot, and this is typical in this business, I'm guilty of it. I'm as guilty of it as I'm probably more guilty of it than you guys are. Where when something doesn't go the way that I want it to go, I find all the people that were involved that made that happen, instead of asking myself, what could I have done to make this better? And it's amazing how much better I feel when I ask myself that question, because all the tension goes away, all the frustration goes away. And then it's laid on me. I go okay, well, what could I have done? How could I have made this a better conversation? How could I have reacted differently that would created a better outcome? How could I have responded differently? What could I have done differently in advance? Just a lot of things there's so many different areas in my life. When it gets stressful, you have to ask yourself that question, okay, well, why am I stressed out? Oh, what could I have done to have prevented this? Right? What could I have done to prevent this thing that's stressing me out now? Because it's just so easy, and I see it far too much. And I just don't want us to be that kind of a company where, and it's hard to do in this industry. It's really hard to do, because I think the typical culture is, and we're on the sales side here, guys. So on the sales side is everybody else is doing this. And that's a pretty common culture at every company. And it doesn't have to be Zenith. And it would be really cool if it wasn't. It would be really cool if at Zenith, that's what we were able to say on a regular basis, that we own our shit. So whatever happens, it's my fault. Whatever happens, it's my fault. And if I can get everybody at this company to do that, everybody. Because if you do this, it's like, okay, well, here's what I screwed up, but here's what they screwed up. If that's what you do, well, then you're not doing it. Because if you, at the end of that Friday Focus, I have a link to that TED Talk that Jocko Willink does, where he talks about, because once you do that, you've become a leader, and you're going to get people to follow you because you're leading yourself, and they're seeing that. And then that's what I think what we get what we put out. Right. So if we want everybody else to take ownership, it has to start with us taking ownership first. It's really hard to get everybody else to take ownership if you're not going to do it. It's just hard. It's nearly impossible, because they're watching. Everybody watches everything that you say and everything that you do. And you guys have a lot of influence on what happens at this company, because you're in the sales role, and you're the ones that make the bells ring. Right. So that's just how it works. And we can make our lives a lot better and a lot easier and a lot more pleasant if we all just decide, I'm going to just take ownership. Whatever happens, it's my fault. And then I'm going to ask myself what I could have done to make this better. And that's how I'm going to lead. And I'm going to, because we're going to notice the people who don't take ownership, and they're just going to feel uncomfortable here. And then they're going to opt out, and that'll be okay. That will be okay. Because if we don't have people that want to do that, it's just always harder. It's always harder when everybody else is like looking to see like, well, what did so-and-so do wrong? What did they do wrong? And what did they do wrong? It's like, I'm going to take ownership, because the other stuff will show up and people will notice. And when they start to notice it, because that's what I need from everybody. I need the entire operations department to do that. I need the underwriters to do that. I need everybody at VIP to do that, but we got to do it first, or no one else is going to do it. It starts with us. And at the end of that talk, what he says is, and then go lead yourself, lead your team, lead your family, but lead. And that's what that looks like. It's a really powerful talk. If you haven't watched it, it's about 20 minutes, and you can set it to like 1.5 times speed. It'll only take you about 12. So anybody have any response, any feedback for me? That was it. That's what I wanted to share.
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's be that company, because that's a really attractive company when I'm recruiting, because I'm starting, like, I'm building this really cool list. I want to use that. I want to say that, like, going, hey, we're different here. What we do at this company is we own our shit. If we make a mistake, we don't find what everybody else did wrong. We figure out what we did wrong, and we take care of us. And when everybody does that, we have an amazing company. We can solve anything. So watch that video, guys. I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot for listening. Have an awesome day.